Welcome to The Winning Edge, the podcast where champions are built and legacies are made. I'm Leonard Wheeler, former NFL player turned entrepreneur of 24 years and co-executive director of the NFL Legends community. After years of being on the field, I've learned that the real game starts when the stadium lights go out. This show is your all-access pass to the mindset, strategies, and leadership lessons that fuel success beyond sports. Each week, we will dive into what it truly takes to win in business, leadership, and life. We'll discuss how elite athletes, game-changing entrepreneurs, and industry leaders turn discipline into dominance and setbacks into comebacks. The next play is yours. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Leonard Wheeler, co-executive director for the NFL Legends community. And today I have a special guest. She is my friend. She's my boss. She is my little sister, but she's really not that much younger than I am, even though she's going to try to claim that she is. But she's an amazing advocate for current and legends. And so I want to introduce my friend. I'm not going to get into too much of her bio because just to let you know a little thing, she's been in the NFL office since 1992. So I'll let you figure out.
Came in the league as the same year as you.
That's a true statement, by the way.
That is a true statement.
So I want to introduce my friend, Tracy Perlman. Tracy,
thank you, Leonard.
So much for being here today. I so appreciate you.
The feeling is mutual. You know that.
So I do have a lot of questions, though. Okay.
You sent me a list. There was a lot of questions.
So, because I have a lot of questions because I really believe that you have so much that you have offered and you have so much to offer so many different areas of life. You know, if it's the 20-year-olds or 30-year-olds or 40-year-olds, like you've been in that space for so long. So I want you to just give a story, though, on how you got started. You've been in the league since 1992.
Yes.
You came out of Hofstra.
Yes.
So let's first just talk about how did you even get started in the NFL office?
So when I went to Hofstra, the New York Jets were on campus at Hofstra. And I used to do the work study program. And as part of my work study, I sat desk where the players lived during training camp. And by default, when you're the first person they see when they walk in the building, can you do this for me? Can you do that? Do you know where this is? Can you help me? So by default, I started doing all of this stuff with players. And every player who walked by was like, you should really work at the office. You should really work in the NFL. And I was going into my senior year of college. Mm-hmm. And then the February of my senior year of college, my sister, who went to St. John's University, saw a posting in their job posting to work in the NFL office. And all I wanted to do was work in sports, not sure what I wanted to do. I was a comm major. I was doing the news. So I was the sportscaster on the Hofstra News, like all kinds of random things.
Hold on. This is peeling back a piece of the onion right here because you never shared that you did the news.
You never asked me.
Okay, continue, please.
But think about it. When you are a female and you're trying to get into sports, where do you default to? Being on the sideline. Because you're not sure what other opportunities there are in sports. So when my sister sent me the job, and remember, there's no LinkedIn, there's no Indeed, there's no internet. So I physically had to send in a cover letter and a resume.
Okay.
And so I sent it in blind, didn't know who I was sending it to, just who was on that, that notice. And I got a call. They want me to come in for an interview. And so this is February of my senior year of college. I have several interviews set up. I'm going to NBC on an interview. I'm going to all these different places.
So do you remember who the call was from?
It was from the HR office.
Okay, got it. Okay.
And I wasn't even home. And at the time, cell phones weren't really a thing.
No cell phone, really?
So my mom took a message.
Yes.
So I call them and they set up an interview. And so I don't go to class that day. I go to the NFL league office, which was at 410 Park Avenue. And I go in and I interview with the personnel coordinator. And she says, great, I'm going to have you interview with the personnel manager. And I walk in, and it's my cheerleading coach from high school.
Hold
And
on,
she's,
hold on. Okay, okay. Hold on. Pause right there for 1 second. Let's pause with the cheerleading coach from high school. Okay. At Hofstra, you danced.
yes,
Okay. And you also taught dance. So now here you are, kind of full circle from high school.
yep,
And here you are now, and it's your high school dance cheerleading coach.
yes,
Okay. That's crazy. All right. Go
yes.
ahead.
So, and I walk in, and she said, I knew it was you. When I saw the resume, I knew it was you. But she didn't want me to know. She wanted me to get to her, I guess, is the point. Like, she wanted me to make it past the first interview. And so I interview with her, and she says, I'm going to have you interview with the vice president of HR.
Amazing.
And his name was John Buzzio. And as I'm walking towards him, he literally is asking me, do you know who the commissioner is? Do you know how many teams are in the NFL? Do you know? And I'm walking in there, and I'm thinking to myself, it's a good thing I know all of these things, and that
Because it was
my dad brought me up to be a football fan, and he said, you earned the opportunity to sit down. And so I sit down, and we start doing the interview. And now I have no expectation. I don't know what's happening. This is the first interview I've been on. And he says, great, the job is yours if you want it, but I need to know in 24 hours.
And what was the title of the job at that point?
It was a floater, which meant you worked in HR and you floated to every department where somebody was out. So I would get the opportunity to learn everything about the NFL and how it works. But this is February.
Which is kind of where the idea came from for
yes, for the Legends Fellowship program.
Yes, okay.
Yes. But remember, this is now February of my senior year. So I still have to finish school. So now they're offering to hold the job for me until I graduate, but I have to let them know. And now I have all these other interviews set up. And so I went home, and I was literally a nervous wreck because I didn't know what to do. I had to make a decision in 24 hours. And so I was talking to my dad, and he just kept saying to me, you got to go with your gut. What do you want to do here? And I kept telling him all the other things that I had coming. And he's like, yeah, but you keep going back to, you want to do this. And so within 24 hours, I called, and they held the job for me. And the day after I graduated from college, on my 22nd birthday, I started working at the National Football League.
That is insane. That is
meant to be. I just feel like it was meant to be.
That was okay. Given that you grew up in New York,
yes,
you grew up a Jets fan,
yes,
and you had this amazing relationship with both parents. But you and I, we talk about how significant are and the roles that both parents played in your life, but especially your dad.
Yeah.
In terms of having that relationship and being able to have that consult. Talk a little bit about that part, Tracy, in terms of the significance that your dad played in your life in terms of your growth.
I don't know any better than he's always supposed to be there. I don't know any better than the biggest supporter, the biggest cheerleader, anything I wanted to do. He worked for the Department of Sanitation. Somehow I had everything I ever needed or wanted. If I had a recital, the person standing with the 8mm camera at the time, which I'm really aging myself, is my dad. So I have all of this video of my whole life. My family was really close, and my dad he always said this, so what was his big thing. And I when I was a kid, I'm like, what is this? And he would say to me, so what? And I said, I don't understand. He's like, okay, so you had a bad day. So what? There's tomorrow. Nothing is the end of the world. Everything that happens to you, oh my God, I made a mistake. So what? You can fix it. Like, stand up for whatever it is you believe in. This person doesn't like me. So what? They shouldn't be in your life then. And it's so interesting. My cousin, John Gordon, he's a speaker and he writes books. And sometimes I hear him talk and I hear him quote my father. Yes. And it's just something that I can stand on. Like, things don't always go your way. So what? You have family around you. You have friends around you. You have things nobody else can. Like, everything happens for a reason. And in the moment, you might not believe that. And my dad didn't grow up in wealth. He didn't grow up in a great neighborhood. He didn't grow up with much, but I've never seen a happier person. I've
Yes.
never seen a bigger cheerleader. I introduced him to Troy Vincent, who's my boss, and we're at a Super Bowl. And I always brought my parents to Super Bowl. You can bring people, like you
Oh
have
yeah.
tickets
I
to
used to see them
purchase,
at the Super
whatever.
Bowl. Yes.
And I always brought my parents. People brought friends. I always brought my parents. And so my dad met Troy, and he said, "You're her boss. You should pay her $5 million a year." And I wanted to crawl under a rock.
Yeah, let's go, Dad.
And Troy's response was, "I wish I could." And it just made me feel like, like my dad, no fear. He was also the guy at the Super Bowl who people would say, "How did you get here?" What, like, he would never tell anybody I was his daughter.
I would
Ever.
see
He would
them.
be hiding in the corner.
Yes, I would see them all the time, and they never, ever, ever highlighted
Yep.
part of it ever.
Nope.
So here you are now. You're on this journey, right? You've been in the league office for over 30 years. Even when I was reading, like I think it was 2012, the Billboard's Power 100,
Yeah.
right? No, seriously,
Yeah.
named one of the Sports Journal's game changers, right? Getting all those accolades, how has that continued to kind of confirm that you are where you were supposed to be, Tracy?
You know me better. The accolades are nice,
I know.
but I do it because you know this, and without naming names, I've had players tell me I saved their life. I've had players tell me that I gave them direction as to what to do when they were transitioning out. I've had rookies tell me, "Oh my God, I'm so glad I met you now." Like, that's the important part for me. The important part for me is that the player on the other end feels the impact and I can deliver something to them, because without you guys, I don't exist. Players bring people calm in the eye of the storm. After 9/11, everybody looked at us and what were we going to do? After Hurricane Katrina, the reopening of the Superdome, like, people don't realize that the NFL is part of the fabric of their lives and their culture. It's not part of pop culture. It's part of every day and everything you do. And I think sometimes people forget the person on that field is a person, and they go through so much more than people realize. And every day you're fighting for your job. So if I make a mistake, Troy or the commissioner is going to call me in and hold me accountable. But if a player who plays for Bill Belichick makes a mistake, he might not have a job tomorrow.
That's right.
So, I think for me, I want guys to recognize that they can trust me and that everything that I care about is ensuring that you have a great life on and off the field, and that we're always going to be here for you. So the accolades are nice.
Yes.
But the relationships that I've built and the people, and again, I'll tell you, when my mom passed away, Curtis Martin came to her wake. And that's a tribute to Curtis, because my mom was the biggest Curtis Martin fan on the planet. When she met him, she acted like she was 12.
Yeah.
But it impacted me so much to see him walk in that room, because he knows that I'll always be there for him, and he showed up for me, and it meant the world to me.
Yeah, that is so good. So over 30 years, you have had this transition and this transformation in terms of becoming continually, because you are always becoming. She is a learner, is one of those people that continues to dive in and get her hands dirty. Talk about the different roles that you've been able to play in the league office, though, over those 30 some plus years, Tracy.
Yeah, Leonard, I have kind of been everywhere in this building, and before things even started. So I worked in HR. The great thing about working in HR is you see every job that's available. And then when a job became available, working for NFL Films, working on syndication and production, and these shows that I guess at the time were reality shows, the Quarterback Challenge, Battle of the Gridiron, I felt like that was kind of more of my direction, because when I was a comms major, I also did production and all these other things. So I spent time working for NFL Films. While I was working for NFL Films, the NFL decided to launch NFL Sunday Ticket, NFL.com. This is how much I'm dating myself. And so I moved over to NFL Enterprises to help with all of those launches. And while we were doing all of this, this was about building content. So I started to build relationships with players. And
Which she's
as
really great at, by the way, everybody. She's really, really, really good at it. All right, go ahead.
So I started doing that. Then at one point, I transitioned over and started working in marketing and sponsorship and handled sponsorship relationships, hospitality, player appearances for all of that stuff. Then there was like a hole, and we weren't really doing anything in the entertainment marketing space, meaning like product placement in movies and working on, television shows like Dancing with the Stars and all of these things. And you've probably seen Draft Day and
Uh,
Invincible, and
yes.
so was able to work on all of those things. And when
Yeah,
I
but
did,
how did you know that? How did you know all of that stuff at that particular time, Tracy?
you know what? Because working all over the building, people would come to me for different things. So
Okay.
when movies
Okay.
would come to me and say, we're looking for a player to do X, we would realize they were trying to use the trademarks, but you can't use the trademarks without getting approval from the league. So we had to actually put processes in place
Yep.
that weren't in place. So when I tell you we built entertainment marketing, it was because all of a sudden content was evolving, all of these things were evolving, and people were trying to use our rights, and we figured out a way to make sure that we could monetize it, but also that we could police it, because you
That's right.
don't want just, people can't just use the trademarks without approval, because you also don't want content out there that isn't
That
really
doesn't
living up
represent.
to what the
That's right.
brand is.
That's right.
And coming out of that, I started to book all of the talent. So I started to book Super Bowl halftimes, and I started to book the anthems. First Super Bowl halftime I ever booked was after 9/11. And it was U2. And I had seen U2 do a concert right after 9/11. And when they sang Streets Have No Name, all the names of the victims came onto
Oh
the
my
screen.
gosh.
And one of my closest friends
That just
died.
gave me chills when you said that, actually.
One of
Oh.
my closest friends died on 9/11, and I saw his name go by, and I
Mm.
came back into the office the next day and I said, U2 needs to do Super Bowl halftime, and we need to honor the victims of 9/11. And I called the record label, and they were like, Bono said, come on over, we want to talk about it. I was like, what?
Like Bono, Bono.
And so we ended up actually flying to Vegas and sitting in a meeting with the entire band. And the NFL, how corporate we are. So we're doing intros. Leonard, you would have loved this. We're doing intros, and they're all like, I'm vice president of this, and I'm blah, blah, blah. And the Edge says, I'm the Edge, and I'm the president of U2. And all of a sudden, we're going around. Oh, it was hilarious. And Bono says, I'm Bono, and I am U2. And so it kind of broke the ice,
That's
but
good. That's
we were
good.
able to get Bono and U2 to do Super Bowl halftime. And then we actually came up with the idea to close Times Square to kick off the season that year. So I got to do all of these really cool things.
Yeah.
And then in 2016, Troy and I had a conversation about the player space. And we had launched the Legends community, and it was really true. The NFL was a very transactional relationship with players. There was no
Right.
partnership.
Yep.
And Troy pitched to me to come over to football operations and launch player operations, which we did. And so now we're about 8 years in, and I would say we have built a partnership. We have changed perception, and we've just changed the way that we work with players, because the players should be at the forefront of every decision we make. And we need to make sure we're bringing value, and we're protecting players, and we're helping them transition. So I would say everything led me to be here, and
Yes.
all of the things that I've done before help, because now I know how to market programs to players and how to talk to players in different mediums and how to tell their stories. And I think all of those things I did before led me to where I am now.
So, okay. Now, that is amazing, by the way. So going back from 1992 to today, when you think about the landscape of the NFL in terms of where it was when you came in, where it is now, when you think about the marketing, where it was when you came in, where it is now, what are some of the things that you've seen change that is going to continue to be sustainable?
I mean, the mediums, like there was no social and digital media And now everything that we do becomes viral, and the amount of people we can reach and being able to hit younger viewers, but everything we do is also global. You watch a game on Netflix and everybody in the world is watching the game on Netflix. So I think we have to do everything we can to continue to build the game globally and use all of the technology and the mediums. Like, what is AI going to do for this game? Like,
Oh
we
my
are
gosh.
on a trajectory. And I think the other thing is the relationship has changed so much with players that you see players, all different players, in everything we do. We're able to tell more stories.
That's right.
We're able to help them. But the other thing that has changed is all of the benefits for players. And you know this.
That's right.
Pre-93, we've had to go back and try and service the pre-93. But I think moving forward and looking forward, you see that we've committed to the dedicated hospital network. There's an annuity, there's K, there's a pension plan, there's an HRA. All of these things are out there for players to ensure that they really have benefits that they earned
Yes.
because
Yes.
you go out there and play this game. And people always say to me, well, guys don't, what about guys who only play 3 years? Well, the guy who's playing 3 years started playing when he was 6, and he's
That's
been
right. That's
playing
right.
from when he was 6 till when he was 28. Like, it's not just 3 years. So I think that that's changed, and I think that will sustain as well.
So I remember us sitting in the room over 12 years ago.
You guys were mean. You guys were mean.
No, what? We first of all, none of us knew what we were doing in the room. Like, all we knew is that we're in the room to talk about the Legends community, but we didn't really have a design in terms of this is exactly where we're going, right?
Yeah. No,
So
we
going
didn't have a
back,
name. It wasn't even the Legends community.
it wasn't.
No.
I mean, seriously. So, and then look. I always get you to tell the story of the commissioner. You know, I always get you to tell the story of how transactional it was, because I
Yeah.
think you do such an amazing job of sharing that. But when I think about how you've become an advocate for the players, when I think about how you've continued to open up Pandora's box to actually show people why it's important, right? And also create believability within the legends, right? Because there were, I mean, we can be critical.
You were critical. It's not rude.
No, I'm just saying, look, we were nice. There's some that's worse, right? And so when you think about that, why is it important for the current players and the legends to be bought in, Tracy?
Well, two things. I think it's important for the legends to be bought in because now the current players have negotiated those benefits. Current
Right.
players need to know that they're out there. They
Right.
need to know how to use them. And we need to make it as simple as possible. I don't want those benefits to go away because people aren't using them.
Yes.
So I think legends, it's important they're bought in, they trust us, and they understand you earn this benefit, use it. I get a lot of, well, I have this through my other company I'm working for. Well, that's great because the dedicated hospital network is not insurance. So I would rather have conversations and make guys really understand what it is they have in front of them.
Yes.
And I also think it's important because we always tell the current players, you don't have to live up to the Shield. You have to live up to the guy who played before you. And there's a respect and an integrity that you bring to a locker room that when we walk in there is not the same thing. And I think it's important for the legends to be advocates for the game. Think about how many guys, there are like 1,100 legends coaching football. There are, every time you turn on the television to watch football, there are legends talking about football.
All day long.
All of the legends who work in this building, all of the legends that work at the clubs. There are 300 legends working at clubs in the executive ranks and as coaches. So it's important for legends to stay connected, feel the connection, trust and believe in everything that's out there because they're going to advocate for the game moving forward. We need to make sure kids are playing.
That's right.
And I think the biggest thing for the current player is to understand that when you walk in the door, your football, the on-field stuff is taken care of. We want to help you build the off-the-field stuff.
Yeah.
You don't know when it's going to end. And you should have in your mind some idea of what you want to do. So try everything. We have so many off-season programs. You can try entertainment, you can try music, you can try fashion, you can try gaming, you can try broadcasting, coaching, like you name it.
I was going to talk about that. I was going to talk about how, because of your roles, your various roles that you've been able to play, and the significance of some of those roles and the interaction that you've been able to create over the years, and how you've now created, broadcast boot camp and the branding. And I mean, it is outstanding. How simple is it for guys to just sign up and go to those, Tracy?
So it's actually simple to apply, but it's hard to get in. So
I like.
we launch all of the programming the last week of October, first week of November. We tell guys they're out there. Guys have an app, they can go on and apply, but we want guys to tell us why. Because we don't want to make the program so big that you don't get anything out of it. And we want to make sure that there's connections and networking and there's opportunity after the fact. So generally, we try to keep the programs between 25 and 35 people. So if you apply to Broadcast Workshop and it says in every single email you get, submit a reel, and you don't submit a reel,
then your chances are slim.
Correct. And, when we send you entertainment and we show you the application and say, pick a track and tell us why, put NA doesn't, that's not helping you at all.
Yes.
And the other thing is, call us. We'll help you fill out the application. Your head of player engagement will help you fill out the application.
That's
and
right.
If it's something that we're not offering, and I give the Marlon Humphrey, and I got to give him credit for trying to stump me, but he didn't. He said to me, Trace, I'm really interested in watchmaking. Okay. How can I learn how to make a watch? And we had just done a deal with Breitling. So I worked with sponsorship. We got him to Breitling and he learned how to make a watch. He said it was the hardest thing he's ever done. And I have pictures of it and I'm so proud of it.
Oh, good.
He's so proud of it. And it helped a partner. It helped a player. And it also showed other guys, you can ask us for stuff. We're going to try. At the very least, we're going to try.
But Tracy, we're not good at asking for help. We're not.
No, you are not.
We are not good at asking for help. We are not good at saying I'm hurting. We're not good at saying, somebody please put out a helping hand to me, because our entire life has been hiding injuries, right? Hiding that if I have a pulled hamstring, I'm not telling someone. You tell them, what? I could get cut. What are you talking about? How do we change that narrative? How do we change that mindset around that aspect of us?
Well, you know this from all the training that we get. I think the more in-person stuff that we do, the better, because I feel like in conversation, you also find out that I'm actually a human being on the other side of this. And, when my dad died, a lot of guys reached out to me who were hurting over their parents dying. And all of a sudden there was something that we had in common that we could talk about. And I think the biggest thing for me is always finding common ground. Working here as a woman for 33 years.
I mean, come on, talk about that part.
Necessarily been the easiest thing to do. Right. So I think that that's part of it. Guys understanding that we're all in transition all the time. I changed my career at 46 years old and went in a totally different direction.
Wow, that's a good point.
And I think that guys just need to understand, I talked to Terrion Arnold a lot. He was a prospect coming in. He was a rookie last year, and now he's going into his second year. And there was a challenge with him up front. He and I had a very transparent conversation. And ever since then, he reaches out to me. I reach out to him. I trust him. I think he's going to be great for this league. And I think he trusts me enough to talk to me about things that are just in his head. We also have clinical services. There's total wellness. You have a head of player engagement. You don't have to trust me. You don't have to trust Leonard. Go talk to your head of player engagement. Your head of player engagement is the trusted resource at your club. Okay. And yes.
Talk about the collaboration though, because earlier you talked about trust.
Yep.
Right? Now you're saying, go talk to blah. Talk about why that trust factor is so significant, Tracy, when it comes to having those conversations.
Look, if you don't want to ask us for help, you talk to your head of player engagement. They're going to say, hey, I have a player who needs. They're not going to tell me who. And we're going to be able to figure out the support around you. the other thing is like, we're happy to talk to your family. You don't even have to be the one to reach out. And if there is a player or a legend that you feel comfortable with, that's the way to go. And I think that's why we have the 23 guys who work for us, because you're going to be able to relate to somebody that, and I say this all the time, you hear me say it, I can educate you on everything that's out there, but I can't utilize the things that you can utilize. So we're going to figure out a way, whether it's through your head of player engagement, through the Legends director at the club, through one of our legends who works for us, or through us directly, we're going to figure out a way to support you. And we always respond. And Leonard knows sometimes it's not the response you want, but we're going to get you to the right place.
Let me just say, everybody, hear me out. And because I was going to ask this question. What makes you so dang good at follow-up? Because let me just say, follow through. She's so good at returning emails and text messages and calls. And I'm going, first of all, I know you have a full-time gig at the NFL office. Secondly, I know you have a full-time gig at the NFL office. And I know how many people, are reaching out to you and how many people you're reaching out to. When you think about some of those traits, though, Tracy, and you think about building a culture, right? Why are those traits so important in terms of creating that, what I continue to go back to is trust?
It's a respect. Like, you respond because you respect the other person. And I don't understand if you don't respond. Like when people talk about ghosting, that's a foreign concept to me, because if you reached out to me, you trust me enough to answer you. And like I said, it's not always going to be the answer you want. And it may be, I'm not able to do this, but I'm going to connect you with somebody else who can help you with this. But again, to your point, it's building trust, but you have to respect who's on the other end of the phone or the email or the text message or the DM. And trust me, you guys find every way possible to get to me. So I better respond.
Yes.
And the other thing is, I'm building a relationship with you, and hopefully you feel that there's value there. And then when I call you and say, Leonard, oh my God, I need somebody last minute, you're going to say, of course I'm going to show up.
Got it. Because it's reciprocity. It's reciprocating. Yes. And you are really good at I call it putting cookies back in the cookie jar. You know what I'm saying? You are good at that. Okay, so I have two last questions, because I know you have a full day ahead, even though it's the end of the day. It's not the end of the day for her, everybody. We just created the transition playbook.
Yes.
Right? Talk about the significance of the transition playbook and what guys can expect from that.
Okay, first of all, I'm mad at myself that we did not think of this before now. So again, going back to my parents, when my parents passed, this, not to be morbid, they give you a checklist of what you need to do.
Yes.
And I would not have been able to move forward without that checklist. I will tell you. And so we were talking, me, you, Chad, and I'm like, we need to give everybody a checklist. Like, guys don't know. And guys say we're hiding it. We're not hiding it, but we never told them exactly what to do.
Yes.
And you and Chad said, we always work by a playbook or a game plan. And that's where it came from. And it seems like common sense that we would have done this. But now it is a playbook that has an actual checklist of things to do. And it connects you through a PDF with links to everything. So you can get the applications, you can get your medical records. So the idea is you walk out of the building, or you decide it's over, whatever it is, and you get this playbook, which gives you contacts. So there's somebody else on the other end, but it also gives you a way to work at your own timetable.
Yes.
It tells you when things are due, but you can work at your own pace, because I think the biggest challenge and what I've seen is sometimes guys are not ready. And the other thing, and I say this all the time, is you can walk away and you can go back. Darren Waller just did that. He walked away and now he's back. And Watson did it. Jason Witten did it. Deion Sanders did it.
Having that freedom to be able to do that, though.
Yeah, and so there shouldn't be a fear. If you start down a path and you go back, you come down the path again later when you're ready.
Okay. So I want to ask you this last question. When you think about the success you've had, Tracy, what are some messages that you might have for not just little girls that are out there trying to make, but I'm talking about all people that are wanting to be successful? You've had some great success in your life. What are some of the messages that you would like to leave there in terms of how they create their winning edge?
I think the biggest thing for me was you can't be afraid. There have been a ton of times I've been in a room and I was the only female in the room. And you can't be afraid. Ideas come from everywhere. You also, you have to figure out how you want to be led and how you want to learn. And I learned that as a leader, like not everyone's the same. And, your work ethic, the way you treat other people, all of those things matter. And it's going to build who you are. And who you are is going to make you successful or not successful at what you do. And I think, you also have to be willing to learn all the time. We talk about this. Like if you become stagnant and static, you're not going to be happy anymore.
That's right.
And people always ask me, how do I do this? This job I love what I do. I'm so happy with the family around me that is in this building. My whole family has been included in everything that we do. Yes. And so I think, whatever you end up doing, if it's just a job, yes, it's different than if it's part of your life and it's your career and it's something you care about and there are people you care about, because it's going to light a fire under you to do better every day.
Oh, that's good. So look, I know you have great people that work around you.
I do.
Laura and Reams, and there's a plethora of people, we know that, and they are all playing such a significant role in the growth of the NFL and the NFL Legends community. But I cannot get off without you talking about your niece, because if you don't, you're going to have to pay for it dearly. How do you, whenever you think about your niece and the role model that you've become for her, just kind of bring that to a close for me.
So she is my goddaughter, and she is a mini me, and she's going down the path that I went down. And, I challenge her all the time. She's in dancing school. She just made the dance team in her high school. Her dance team just won the highest award at nationals, the Icon dance team. And she is just watching her grow up and navigate. And man, I hate social media for her, by the way. And little girls are tough. And I love that she's her own person. Wow. And when she calls me and says, Aunt Tracy, don't I look pretty? And I love it. I absolutely love it. Yes. And I think she's her own person. And I'll never forget, she was 9 years old and she said, Aunt Tracy, I'm going to be a lawyer. I said, what? She said, I'm going to be a lawyer. I like to argue. And I said, okay. And then when she was 10 years old, she asked me if I could buy her a law book for her birthday.
Stop the presses.
Oh, no. So I bought her a book that's for kids, introducing them to different types of law. And so now she wants to go to an Ivy League undergrad and Harvard for law school. And she's 13, more power to her. And I know that she believes she can do that. And I tell her all the time, like, you can do whatever you want to do.
Wow. That is what I call a winning edge right there. So, Tracy, I can't thank you enough. I know you're busy, friend. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
All the love for you. And thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for tuning in and listening to this week's episode of The Winning Edge. You can write in and ask your questions on my Instagram page at Leonard Wheeler 7, and I will address your questions on an upcoming episode. If this episode helped you, I would love for you to share it with your friends, colleagues, and family. Share the episode with those that you feel can benefit from it. You can also follow me on Instagram, TikTok, X, and LinkedIn, found in the show notes. I would greatly appreciate it if you would rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Subscribe now and let's build your legacy.